Hey sis.
Hey sister circle.
I'm your big sis April.
And I'm your little sis Tiffany. And we are Sister Talk Network podcast.
Sisters bridging the generational gap while encouraging candid conversations
and healing amongst women, friends, and sisters. You have a sister now. Sister Circle, we back.
Yeah, I am your big sis April.
And I'm your little sis Tiffany. And welcome to Sister Talk Network, our podcast.
Yes.
Can't do it without our sister circle.
No, we absolutely cannot. So we've been talking a lot about just our issues, our childhood. And on a previous episode, we talked about our bloodline.
Yeah.
And you gave the analogy of the woman who fought through the crowd to touch the hem of Jesus's garment. And in the Bible is listed or is documented as an issue with blood, where she was physically bleeding.
Yeah.
But you gave a different scenario, which was like, whoa.
Yeah, because I had a different interpretation of it because even though she was physically bleeding, it was, well, what if she, like with us and trying to correlate it with us, what are our issues?
Yeah.
What are our issues in our bloodline that are passed down from generation to generation that we struggled with and not letting those things go? Yeah. And at some point you're going to have to let it go because it trickles down on the next generation.
That is very true. So we have the natural perspective of us fighting through to get to Jesus and those things that are in our bloodline. So it's just like a physical blood or just your internal blood and your history and things like that. Because I know when we initially talked about it, I remember that day you were having a really tough morning. Like you literally had to crawl out of bed.
That was my heating pad.
Yeah,
y'all.
that was her heating pad.
I still got that. I don't need it, and I still got that heating pad, like just in case.
Yeah,
I got it on me.
So that was one of those. That's how this all came about. Like just to give
I literally had to crawl out of bed, and literally felt like the woman with the issue of blood.
Yeah,
and crawling on the floor, like
to try to get it done. It doesn't give you the approval you need, and accepting that God created you to be peculiar. Like you can't have these gifts and just fit in, blend in. Yeah, so sometimes that road is a lonely road. Yeah. Until God brings the people in your life that are assigned to you and like-minded people, which we are seeing him do now, which is a beautiful thing. And I dare to say it would have happened a whole lot sooner if we would have just embraced who we are. Yeah. And not, trying to fit into the mold of who somebody else says we are or just blending in, like faking it to act. And I told you, like there was time, it wasn't until a couple years ago where I really felt comfortable in my own skin, but would just go out and it's like I'm almost in a bubble and I'm watching all the people around me and they are having such a good time. Because just not walking in our authentic true self. So that was a lot, but I'm glad that we're now getting to the place of accepting who we are and allowing God to bring those people into our lives to feed and nourish, where like we can say something to them or somebody will say something to me. I've had one of my close friends say something to me and she was like, this is going to sound so crazy. Girl.
Like all the stuff that I done heard, you have no idea.
You have no idea. Like we're good. Yeah. But getting to that place again requires changing the narrative of that bloodline and the way things were done. And sometimes it just doesn't even make sense. Thank you so much for joining us. I need to first start by saying how life-changing your products have been for me. And I was going to share Sister Circle, so now I'm going to share here, personal pages. I've been talking to my coworkers about I suffer with debilitating back pain from scoliosis, major surgery as a teenager. I have rods in my back, all kind of hardware in my back. And as I got into my late 40s, my spine just started to act crazy and the pain was crazy. So the diagnosis was spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of my spine. I have arthritis in my lower back, and just the 3 discs that were left below all the hardware are just kind of hanging out. So the arthritis is just unbearable, which gave me like excruciating lower back pain, pain in both of my hips from just being out of balance, and sciatica, which goes down my leg.
That sounds so painful.
Yes, awful, to the point where I couldn't even clean my house without being down for a few days. So fast forward, CBD oil comes and sea moss comes. After 1 week, I'm literally cleaning my whole house. Now, and I won't pretend it's with no pain, but it's bearable. It's just a little twinge here and there. And the only time the pain really comes is if I'm doing too much. Like, okay, girl, sit down. You did too much
You're gonna
today.
make me cry in the first
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. I want to cry
I
with
grabbed my
you.
tissues. I was like, I knew it.
I already had my tears. So yeah, so that's one. And then the sea moss, the energy that I have, I feel better than I have felt literally in the last 15 years plus.
That's a blessing.
So yeah, life changing. We can't wait to drop all of our information and descriptions.
Yes.
This is coming from a 52-year-old that has been dealing with pain. I even wore heels for the first time.
Oh shit!
To wear.
Y'all gonna be mad at me because that's definitely a oh shit moment.
I haven't been able to wear
because she be on
heels,
Steve Madden like, oh, I like these, but I'm not getting them. Okay.
So yeah, I am super excited to spread the word. Already one of my coworkers has started. I was telling you a little bit about my husband just like fishing around trying to decide. So yeah, thank you. But and do you want to talk first before I ask? Because I need to understand your why. Like I can manipulate this whole conversation.
She's like, listen. No, but just the CBD, because first of all, I have anxiety when through several different situations. If I'm out with my kids and it's just me and 3 kids, because with everything going on with kids now, it's just like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch all of y'all at the same time. Or just being in social settings and having to talk, which is hilarious because I'm doing a podcast. But with that, and then like even in certain driving situations, I don't drive across bridges. Like they give me anxiety to the point where I had pulled over and been breathing inside of a paper bag. So I will say the first time I noticed driving, I drove in Florida. We went on vacation and my husband's like, I need you to make another stop. Normally I would have been like, no. You do it. You already know what the situation is, but I did it. And then once I got back to the house, I'm like, oh crap, I did it. Not waking up, first of all, because I have the sciatic pain too. So waking up and not having to do a 15-minute stretch just to get out the bed, which you warned me about, but I'm like, it's not possible. I'm always going to be like this. So to be able to do that with no pain, to be able to not have anxiety when I have my kids, from dealing with postpartum depression and now waking up with a smile on my face and it's not forced anymore. Like that's why I'm like, I don't think she understands
the magnitude
of how many people's lives you're about to change. And I'm not a health nut. This is the health nut. I'm not a health nut at all. The more candy, the more sugar, the more chips, the better.
We're working on that. Work in progress.
But I did progress. I took the snacks out of my nightstand drawer, so it's progress.
Okay.
But and I went to a vegan restaurant, like
and enjoyed it.
Yes, who knew? Yeah. But to even the sea moss and the energy, like now I can run and I can chase my kids. And now I have them taking it. I have to mix it with jelly and put it on their toast. So they don't know what it is.
Oh, that's creative.
Yeah, it is. Any way I can get it down. Like,
a little bit
how are you going to take it? My son will take it in a milkshake. Okay, that's what's going to work.
Nice.
But
it has literally been life changing. I just can't say enough to say thank you.
We have stuff in us that's been sitting there for, and I'm talking about been sitting in us For a very long time, 15. We hold 15 to 25 pounds of waste.
Insane.
Yeah.
I was telling Tiff, and I'm gonna tell you is without like gross. I was away for 5 days, so I didn't have the sea moss. But when I came back, first day nothing. The second day,
okay, yeah, I didn't know it was
like
too long
poison.
until he said something.
Poison in your
It's
body.
like, well, the kids go every day. You don't see nothing wrong with a week.
But if that's your norm, you wouldn't think it was out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
So 50 pounds lighter for you. And then that's how the whole business was born. Like after trying it out first.
After like giving it to my family and like hearing their testimonies, I was like, whoa. Like if I help them, my immediate family, imagine how many people I can help. You know, and I've always been a businesswoman. I've always had like side businesses. I was an Herbalife coach at one point. I had a jewelry business called Tiffany's Passion. I had a credit repair business. I had a lingerie business. So I always had different businesses. But when this one came, I was like, whoa,
this is it.
This can be the business that breaks the generational curse on my family. And I can help hundreds of thousands of people. That is the goal. I feel like I'm genuinely walking in God's purpose for me. And I feel it. So we've really, because it's been 3 years, I've really, really perfected how to make it. And the process is insane. So I don't know if you ever looked up the process of making sea moss, but it's a long process and it takes a couple hours. But what a lot of people don't do is they don't clean it right. So sea moss is, when we get it, it looks like a box of ramen noodles. My sea moss is imported from 𝓻𝓲𝓬𝓱. So 𝓻𝓲𝓬𝓱 actually has an active volcano, and any water surrounding active volcano or volcanoes period are super mineral dense, which is why people feel the benefits of my sea moss versus someone else's sea moss. And sea moss grows everywhere. It grows in Jamaica, it grows in Ireland, it grows in Canada, it grows a lot of places. It grows everywhere, but I prefer the st. sea moss the most because of the mineral content. So that's one thing that separates. 2, we clean it very, very well. It's strands, so we take our time cleaning each strand, which is what makes the process so long. We also strain it several times to make sure there's no seashells or strings or anything from the ocean. A lot of people don't do that.
Because I've had some textures and I'm like,
And then like
it was grainy, like almost. I didn't like it.
And then some people, they put raw fruit in their sea moss. But when they do that, I mean, that's fine. I have a friend that has a sea moss business as well. We support each other. He buys my black seed oil capsules. I buy his sea moss. It's like 3 flavors in 1 jar, and I could eat the entire thing in a second, right? It's so good. But the difference is our textures are a little bit different. So some people like that baby food fall off the spoon kind of just texture. Mine is a little bit more thicker. Passion fruit is not like that, but the other flavors, they're a little bit more thicker because I don't water it down. I want you guys to feel the benefits. If you don't like the texture, mix it into something. The other thing that separates is a lot of people sell sea moss in 16-ounce jars, which if you don't fill it to the top, it's not 16 ounces. It's more like 15, 14. You cannot freeze a jar. So I'm giving you 18 ounces, so I'm giving you 2 more ounces for less, and it's in a freezable pouch, which is BPA free, and that gives people the opportunity to defrost it and eat it when they're ready to, instead of hounding me down weekly.
I can't say enough about it.
And it's so worth it. I know you did. If you don't follow her on Instagram, we're gonna tag the information below.
All the information.
You definitely need to. One of the things that you talked about was the flavorless sea moss. And putting it on your face. And the benefits that it had. Girl, when I say I'm about to dip my whole body, I don't even care. I'm about to take the strawberry one, put it in the tub, and I'm gonna taste like strawberries.
Do the matcha.
Okay.
Do the matcha.
I'm doing a face. Me and Ari are going to have a face mask day tonight. I'm not playing
that. So tell me.
First of all, like, you know, we have eczema. Clears that up, moisturizes, get rid of the toxins in your skin. And whatever I'm going through, it's on my face all the time. And even my hands, like I break ever since my second born, my eczema he's almost 4 years. I've eczema the whole entire time. Like, it's not going away. Steroid creams.
So I'm gonna school you a little bit.
Okay.
I know it's my diet.
She knew
You
it
about to
already.
get you about to get me.
She
It's
knew
what
it
you're putting
already.
Yeah,
What you put into your body reflects on the outside of your skin.
Yeah.
My husband is killing me.
So
right now
not
with
just-
that one. It's like,
So
you
not
need to
just
drink
the
more
inside
water.
of our body needs minerals, the outside.
But then not telling men to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, I can remember being a teenager and the same thing. Like, it's just, okay, for girls, we know how it goes. If you sleep with somebody or you sleep with somebody else, you get labeled the hoe. Where for if a guy, they can do whatever they want to do and there's no labels attached to that, so it's definitely a double standard. And like you said, growing up, it was just, don't do it. I would have preferred somebody to help me understand the why too. Like, even if it was you giving me the cold hard facts, like showing me pictures of stuff, like that can happen if you might get something.
Or the Scare Straight program for sex. Like, you can come out with this. I mean, that would have did the job.
Yeah, I would have preferred that instead of just don't do it. And also there's a reason, there's a reason. And it's just not just don't do it, just save yourself for marriage. Like, there's so many things that are attached to sex. Like, we talk about soul ties, which is huge, that a lot of people just don't talk about, where like every time you lay down with somebody, whatever is in them, like there's a transfer. Yeah. And particularly for women, because, like, there's not really a transfer necessarily from us to them as much as it is from them to us. Yeah. So that's huge. Like, I wish somebody would have talked about that. And not just that, but in waiting, we discover, or we have time to discover, what God's plan is. Like, because, and I was listening to your boy. Yeah. Michael Todd, shout out to him. And he was talking about that, like, the promise is revealed during the process. So if we right away just jump right into what we want to do, and not just in sex, it can be in anything in life, then we don't give God the time or opportunity to really show us that path. So now he has to redo things to work it all together for your good. Right. Because we messed it up, basically.
And I love, because you don't see... I think he is. He's the first pastor that I've seen pay tribute to his wife in a sexy way. Where it's just like, oh no, you bad. Oh, you gorgeous.
Pray that for all of us, like, just from this point on, that we will understand that the promise is discovered in the process, because God says clearly he knows the plans he has for us. His thoughts and his ways are not our thoughts and ways. So just waiting for whatever, like, it doesn't even have to necessarily be sex, like I said, but just waiting and allowing the Holy Spirit to come in to guide. Like, the Bible talks about the fruit of the Spirit, one of them is patience. Like, we have to have patience in the process. And it's hard, but we can't do it. We can't do it. And we have to stop trying to do things in our own strength.
I can't even do that. How we talk about food. Yeah. You know how many times I've ordered food and I'm like, you see everybody else plate go by. I'm like, oh, that's what I ordered. But somebody ordered the same thing. You're like, oh, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine.
But he was talking about that as well, Michael Todd, on the same episode. He's like, now we want everything quick. We want the convenience. Uber Eats, Grubhub, Amazon Prime, Amazon in 2 hours. The whole process of waiting for anything has just gone by wayside.
COVID made it worse. Because now Target delivers, and Target is really good, y'all, because they will give it to you in 2 hours. Wow. They at your door. Y'all don't get me for this. Don't judge me. The liquor store delivers.
Oh my goodness. Well, that started during COVID.
Yes, you spend more than $65. They is at your door, and you just gotta show your ID. You gotta show your ID. It's not when you stuck in the house with 3 kids.
Yeah, the convenience of it all.
Like, I could pay $65. Yeah, I paid more than that when I was at the bar, so I could pay $65 getting my wine, and it's like a wine. I mean, they always had like the wine subscriptions, and they had but it's like I can literally or even like for events, because like I know we have barbecues and stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel like going to the store, so if I do it that morning or the night before, you can schedule it.
Yeah, like let me get a couple bottles of wine. We were ordering from Applebee's a couple weeks ago, and I'm online. I'm like, oh, you can get drinks to go. And I said, when did this start? I'm like, oh, COVID
of rawness to what we actually want.
Yep.
Because God knows your heart.
Anyway.
And it's just like, rather you say it or not, it's like you can't say, oh God, I want him to go to church every day. I want him every time there's a service. And then when you actually go into church every service, you mad.
You don't want to do that.
This is what you asked for.
Yeah.
So like being honest of, what do you really want? Because God built you anyway, so he already knows I created you this way.
He knows.
I
can't think of who I was talking to, and they were telling me something about, like that was going on. It's like, oh God, forgive me, but, and they started to say how they were feeling. I'm like, he knows anyway. So you may as well just go to him in prayer and say, this is how I'm feeling. I need you to help me. Because why are you going to go and pray something completely different?
Yeah.
What you just said. Like, it makes no sense at all. Yeah. No sense at all.
Like, if I'm going to be honest, at least I need to be honest with the person who created me.
Yes, because he knows all anyway. We woke up like, you hear the birds chirp, 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 chirp. And it's not always like that.
Yeah.
And had the song in my mind. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you old enough to remember, but it was this old song we used to sing. And it was, when I think about Jesus,
and what he's done for me, I can dance. Yes, our mom old school.
Yes,
she used to play that song and do like the little, how they do the little march with the. I'm like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Can I get some sleep? Yeah.
So that's how I woke up this morning. So I was just like, I'm soaking all of this up.
Yeah.
Because sisters, y'all know every day don't start that way. Some days are so challenging. And I've talked about them just online doing the check-in. So I'm soaking all of this sun up, all of this Jesus up, all of this happiness up. And it's kind of like fuel for those times again when you had to fight.
Yeah.
And then, and I didn't even tell you this because we didn't have a chance to talk. I'm working from home today, sitting there on my computer. And I see somebody pulling up in the car, and we don't play that.
Yeah, don't pull up in my car.
And my front door was open, so just the screen door, and I'm like, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? So I see somebody bringing something up to the door, and I'm like, really? I didn't know who it was. And realized it was one of my girlfriends with this, and she tried to just leave it on the step and run, but I caught her. The most beautiful self-care basket. When I tell you everything you could imagine in it for self-care. So I'm like, okay, God, you just keep going. Today is a good day. It just totally made my day. So it was a good day.
Yeah,
it was
I remember when y'all used to do that with COVID and dropping off the wine
club.
baskets.
And that's what she did for me. She tried to put something there and run, but I caught her. And
we got Ring cameras now. You can't just come up to us.
Yeah, like no, you
Thank
can't
God
do
for
that.
the Ring camera.
You can't do that.
You know how many Amazon packages I've been able to hide?
Yeah, intercept.
Yes,
intercept.
Like listen.
But we already know my husband, like he's a Ring camera stalker.
Man, I'm gonna send this part of the clip for him. I'm gonna send it right to his phone because every time I pull up to their house, he be like, "Hey." I'm like, hello, hi, how are you doing?
Talking through the Ring, y'all. Stalker.
Like stalker. That's what Warren does the same thing. He'll be like, oh, I like your outfit, you look nice. Or he'll be talking to the kids on Ring camera. I'm like, this is not what it's for.
That.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't made for that. But okay, so we were just talking about kind of things that you were dealing with, being in an uncomfortable spot, like things that are a hindrance basically for you right now. And that just brings me back to a conversation that we had earlier in the week. So we were talking about someone that we know, and we just felt like they were kind of in their own way from where they needed to be. And like they weren't even realizing that they're in their own way. But us being outsiders looking in, we're like, they just don't get it. Yeah. They don't get it. And it made us start to think about and talk about like those things that can block our vision. Like you can look at it as just like your natural vision for what you can see or the vision that God has for you. Yeah. So God being God, just like connected all the dots for us. Nice. And we realized that we both have been thinking about this in our own way, or he's been dealing with us about it in our own way. Yeah. So do you want to share what you talked about regarding yourself, or I can go first?
Like with the vision, I can't even say me. Like, God was asking me, like, with the whole one of my favorite sermons, I'll say out of the top 5 of Transformation Church with Michael Todd. It's a whole series, and he's talking about who's sitting on the throne of your heart.
That was a good one.
And
and an ouch one.
You want to talk about digging in somebody behind? I'm like, that was another one. It took me a while to listen to that one, and he had another one with daddy issues. That one, I was just like,
you told me about
I'm not talking to you no more. But with the who sits on the throne of your heart, I was like so frustrated, and I had a triggering moment where what I worked so hard to portray and work so hard in myself, I feel like it wasn't coming across to somebody else. And even with me setting those healthy boundaries, I felt as though this person was just not going to accept it. So I was having this back and forth with the old me versus who I really wanted and who I really am. And it impacted more of my day than what it should have. And God was telling me, he was just like, why are you letting somebody else's vision of you take the place of me? What did I say? He literally in the car crying at this point, because he's like, what did I say about you? What does it matter if this person thinks this way of you?
You're seeking validation from everyone else, and that's a good point. She made an excellent point. Then the person that's not happy always is going to be you, because you aim to please everybody else. And we were talking about that and just seeking approval from everyone else, and like, what do these people think? How do they feel? Like, so forth. And we're gonna continue to pray, because you're gonna get there. You are gonna get there. You are who God created you to be. Take it or leave it. It is what it is, and you don't need to seek that validation from anybody else.
And he's like, you didn't once talk to me about that situation. You didn't let me in there at all. But a short prayer, like, in the nighttime prayers, you say a little quick prayer, God bless my child, let God work this out. But there's a difference between a cute prayer and actually doing the work. And he's now separating the difference of, okay, you said a prayer, but you didn't actually let me have it.
Did you really seek him on it and invite him in to do what he wants to do?
None of it.
Wow. And when we were talking about it, I never even thought about
I didn't either.
Saying, did you pray? I'm the same way. Your journey, where you are,
is the worthy part of it. And is it?
Yeah, it is one of my words.
Everything that God says I am, and everything that comes along with, of course, our obedience, my obedience to what he wants me to do, that I'm worthy of it all. A lot of times I would receive a blessing that I prayed for, and then when it comes, I'm like, want to know why. I had this sense of almost ducking when a blessing comes, like, where's the other shoe? Because like, where's the other shoe on this? Because I wasn't believing the good stuff, and I was having a really what do they call it, pessimistic.
This is too good to be true. This can't be happening. If this is happening, then something bad has to follow. Well, we know, just like a lot of other stuff we talk about, that's just another one of our generational patterns. Where we just don't feel worthy. And that's one of my words on my mirror, y'all. And I have it in a place where as soon as my feet hit the floor, I see it every morning. So we're changing the narrative on that, and I think we have to be deliberate on being consistent in saying over and over and over again, even when we feel like we don't need it. Because it's like, we think, as always, we say, oh, I'm good now. I'm good. But then we slip back into those same places of, how did I get here? Because we've allowed too much time to go by without walking in who God says we are, or telling ourselves, because we're continuing to walk in who he says we are, but continuing to remind ourselves of what he says. So
And yeah, I love what you said about even when we feel like we don't need it. For you to do all the work that I don't want to do. Yeah. So I surrounded myself with girlfriends that wasn't supposed to be there. I got into relationships that I should have never had because I was looking for somebody to replace what I should have been doing myself. Yeah, exactly. So just getting back to, no, I got to do the work myself. It starts with home. Yep, starts with me. Yes.
That's in your space. So I can tell you right now, anytime I have anxiety in my household, the first thing I do is look around and I'm like, why do I have anxiety? Yeah. It's a feeling you feel. It's this feeling in your gut, in your throat. I feel it like in my throat. And I look around and I'm like, cleaning will help me feel better. You know? Even if it's a deep clean, even if it's a quick clean, just like cleaning up the space will help you feel better. And then you don't even realize how much stuff you accumulate over the years.
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
I have things that's like, do I really need this? You know, detoxing your life. Create that peaceful and calming atmosphere that promotes relaxation and positive vibes.
It's all about
All right, we're going to talk about digital detoxing next.
I was like, that's
girl, my problem. I don't know.
So, focus on your digital detox by limiting your screen time and taking regular breaks from your devices. Disconnect from social media and technology and spend more time engaging in meaningful activities such as exercise, yoga, or spending time outdoors, which is really healthy for us and our minds. Also involves reevaluating your relationships, setting boundaries, and surrounding yourself with positive and supportive people.
Sister circle.
Hey, y'all.
This includes saying goodbye to toxic relationships and unhealthy habits that no longer serve you. The big word in this is boundaries for me.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Detox those negative people out of your lives.
They got to go.
They got to go.
Yes. And make sure you're not one of them.
Yeah.
Because
I'm going to sip my tea on that one.
Hold on.
I'm going to sip my tea.
And I'm saying that with no judgment because
that was great.
I was definitely one of them people, and I had to check myself this week.
Okay.
Just on the way I was talking to myself, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. That I'm not allowing that to come back because I did the work to get rid of it. Yeah. So it can't come back once I got rid of it. So just making sure that I continue to talk to myself in a way where I would allow somebody else to talk to me. Because certain stuff I was saying to myself, somebody else said it. We got to fight. So so you can't say that to me. So I'm not going to allow myself to say that. So just making sure you're not that toxic person either.
Not even just how we talk to ourselves, how we are with others. Like there's somebody that I've been in prayer about, and just for understanding where they are.
Daily priority by incorporating healthy habits such as eating nutrient-rich foods, like sea moss gel, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep, and practicing mindfulness techniques such as meditation and journaling. Self-care is, I preach this so much. Somebody said to me the other day, I don't know anybody that does as much self-care as you do.
That's good.
I mean, I do.
Good.
But it's because I have to, because if I don't pour it, that's how I fill my cup, is my self-care. I do my weekly mask. I go to this place where I do the infrared and I do the cryotherapy. Okay. I get the IV needles that
I want to do that. Like the hydrotherapy.
Want to do that. We should have them come.
I would love that. I would love that.
Let's do a date over there. They're awesome.
Do that. Yeah.
My self-care mainly though is the fitness journey that I'm on and working out every day.
Okay.
So, I started with 30 minutes a day, then I went up to 45. I'm embarrassed to say how long I'm in there these days.
I think my perspective is I had to get out of trying to be appealing to people in perfection.
Physically or just
in all ways, like just having the personality to match each group setting, from having like, okay, well, I'm gonna have my shirt buttoned all the way up to here when I go to church, but then when I'm going out with my girlfriends, my behind is out. Like,
I got
just
you.
Attractiveness for me is just me being authentically who God made me, and also what He's still working on.
Right, and owning that.
Yes,
I got it.
and
That's
not
good.
just trying to portray myself as perfect according to what audience I'm looking, because everybody sees perfection differently.
Right.
So once I got to a point of this is me, you love it or you hate it, I'm working on the things that I know I need to work on. And the stuff that's revealed to us, because some stuff is not like, some people will tell me something, I'm like, oh crap, I did not know that.
Yeah.
And just owning it and working on it. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, is people's progress.
We say we're giving stuff to God, but we're not. You know,
Yeah.
like we're still trying to handle it on our own because it's so uncomfortable, and it brings anxiousness and like all of those things when we really try to give it to Him. Instead of just being uncomfortable for a minute and allowing Him to work.
Yeah.
So that's where I am now. And I'm just like, okay, God, I hear you. I'm giving it to you. Even when those thoughts come. And like yesterday I'm driving, and you know how your brain is like all of these crazy thoughts. And I let them go for about 30 seconds. And I'm like, oh, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So I started saying, I trust the power of God to work in the situation, and started naming them. And then started praising God.
Yeah.
And then it was gone. And I probably had to do that like 10, 15 times a day. And I'm gonna keep doing it until it's gonna get better. Like I trust it's going to get better. And I want to circle back to something else you said that I thought was amazing. You mentioned like being spiritually attractive and being authentic. And people seeing that authenticity, which is attractive to them, even if that means they're seeing your shortcomings. Like we're always so concerned about the opinion of others because of the stigma that's been attached with the church of you have to be perfect. Where somebody that's not necessarily walking with God, I think would appreciate more you being transparent with your struggles and saying, this is where I'm at, but I'm trusting God.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. And for me, if I'm honest, like I struggled with that in the beginning because it's like, oh no, I'm not going to do this around these people because I don't want them to think X, Y, Z. Marriage counseling thing like just rings in my mind because in becoming more spiritually attractive made me reevaluate my relationship with my husband. Because and God was dealing with me. I told you, God dealt with me hard, and basically, telling me that during my marriage, I've never really been submissive to my husband, and I thought I was, but I really wasn't, and that I pretty much manipulated situations to get what I wanted, or I did what I wanted to do. So, in being spiritually attractive, needing to be that spiritual representation of God to Him makes me now move different in how I go to Him. Where we just had an incident of something like just recently where it was something I wanted to do. Like I wanted to get like a little small nose piercing.
Oh, I wanted to do
and
that.
Me, even 2 years ago, would have just came home, bling, like it would have just been there. Sorry, that's just who I was. But feeling that nudge to go to Him. So I go to Him, and if He watched this, He gonna get me. But I go to Him and I say, I want to get a really, really, really small, I'm trying to play it down, diamond piercing. And I see His posture change. So I'm like, how do you feel about that?
That wasn't apparent. Like, looking back at the Barbies, most of them were light skinned. We didn't have the dark skinned Barbies.
Right, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yes, like in some instances, it's funny because if you bring a Barbie doll in my house that doesn't represent none of my kids, you better take it back because I'm not doing we're not doing that. But just in that time of that's what we was raised around. All the models were of a certain shade. If you happen to see a black person on the runway, and my husband brought up a good point about just the culture of different shades in the male's perspective.
Oh, he did.
And I was like, you know what? That's a really good point because light-skinned men in this era are deemed softer, not as masculine. And it's like, well, why? Because my dad's light-skinned and he can fix more stuff than you can. So what are you really saying? But just that, like, how are you going to tell a man from his skin color that he's naturally softer than somebody who's of a darker skin tone?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But look at how things flip-flop.
This wasn't communicated. You know, when I was younger, we didn't talk about it at all. But because that's what I was surrounded by, you know, everyone was the same as far as I was concerned.
Yeah.
You know, there was no real differences.
And what a beautiful thing that is. You know, like,
yes, I'm grateful for that.
Yes, like what a beautiful thing that is, where in your home you have the safety of this is not a thing. But then on the opposite hand, it's like, okay, now the world is going to shock you into reality. That's the hard part, you know, of this is how it really is, you know?
I guess I was around 14 and I had a brown skin girl actually explain the situation to me.
Really?
And I appreciate her in doing that. She said she thought I was stuck up or she didn't know me, but didn't care necessarily to get to know me because she thought I was stuck up because of the color of my skin. So once and I guess for both of us, it was a freedom because once she got to know me, you know, we became the best of friends.
Right.
But we were not close initially because
of that. And I can relate to that.
You know, I was going to act a certain kind of way, you know, because of my light skin and long hair, which, you know, the truth of the matter is generally through your childhood, you are struggling with insecurity.
Period. Light skin, dark skin.
Doesn't matter the color of your skin. You are struggling with fitting in wherever you are because we're all getting to know ourselves. So,
that is, that's good. That's true. And I can relate to her. So, like, I have to say, I am sorry, sis. To all of my light-skinned sisters, I am so sorry because I remember being that way. It's like you look at them and it's like, oh, she thinks she's better than me. She, you know, she thinks she's this, she thinks she's that, but not recognizing the struggle. Like just taking the time to get to know people and really understanding what their struggles are. But those teenage years, man, they hard. Yeah. And think about how much harder it is for our girls growing up. That's why I think we have to be so intentional in pouring into them and letting them know no matter what shade you are absolutely gorgeous.
What does sisterhood mean to you?
Then ending with, what does sisterhood mean to you? So we'll start with our guest. Yes. What does sisterhood mean to you?
Listen, we need our sisters.
Yes.
We need our girl time. Like, we really need that. When you're a woman speaking with other women, you feel like you're being related to. You feel like you're being understood. You feel like you're being listened to. And that is what I love that. Yeah, I need that.
Yes, we do.
You guys being my sisters has
for life.
Really helped me and brought so much love into my heart. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be a part of this sisterhood.
Yeah. Yes, we're glad to have you.
Yeah,
you mean just the same amount?
Yes,
if not more. Yeah. Just get out my head. Well,
it is what it is. I don't take these connections lightly anymore. And it's very few people that can come in and it's just easy, it's comfortable, and I know that it's God ordained.
Cause she'll tell me she don't like somebody in a minute. She'll be like, she's the one that sits in the corner. I remember growing up and watching everybody. I'ma tell.
I don't care.
Because she would sit up there in the corner and she could just I'm not judgment, but just the observations of everybody.
Energy.
Yeah, she'd be like, nah. She'll wait till they leave, but she'd be like,
You could tell. You could tell from a person's aura and the energy, the way they carry themselves, the way they speak, the way they speak to others. Is you can tell in that moment whether they're like, or
and sometimes you don't even know what it is, but you know it's something. Yeah, something ain't right. What about you, sis?
What does sisterhood mean to me? Trusting God with the people that He put in my life. Regardless of the confirmation that comes, I still get this anxiety every once in a while where it's because of that need to fit in from a young age. It's almost unreal how much time I prayed and then watching him answer it with giving me a like-minded people. And I just,
I love that.
That's my cup overflowing.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
that.
And for me, you in my head, but in a different way, because my word was trustworthy. Not even knowing you were going to say that. But it was on the opposite end of the spectrum, because when I think of someone as trustworthy, it's someone that if I'm not in a room, I know you got my back. Always. And now having those people that I know God has sent, those people that he's aligning that are really trustworthy, is a game changer for me. And if I'm honest, I'm going to put myself out there. Like, have I always been that person? No. And I won't say in a sense where I'm talking bad about anyone, but I have been the one to be in the room and stay quiet when somebody else was talking. That'll never happen now. So it's just a growth of really understanding what sisterhood means. And I didn't always really get it or grasp it because of upbringing and, you know, community and the people around. And you kind of do what you see other people do kind of thing,
right.
But trustworthy.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So nobody can ever say anything about Tiff or Tiff.
Yeah.
You ain't got to be nowhere in the room or we going to have a
And
problem.
y'all just going to hear about
like,
me
what y'all
fighting. They be like, well, I need you to come get me. Be
There
like,
she
well,
goes.
what
She always trying
happened?
to fight y'all.
That's what happened.
She's always
That's
trying to
what
fight.
happened. If I call one of y'all and say, come get me, somebody said something they weren't supposed to say and now they paid for it. But I bet you I win though.
Yeah.
So we want to know, what does a sister mean to you? What is sisterhood? So I'm gonna ask my sister first.
Okay.
So what does sisterhood mean to you?
Sisterhood to me means love. Like when I think of sisterhood, I just think of a big open heart that's just like full of love, like overflowing, like a big heart, little hearts coming out. That's sisterhood to me. What about you, sis? What does it mean to you?
I think of safety.
That's
I
good.
think of like really no judgment.
Yeah.
Because people will say no judgment and then gonna form like, oh, guess what? Like, no, I really mean no judgment.
That's a good one because as women, we are guilty of, or I have been guilty of in the past. I'm deliberate in not being that way. Now of you say, what is it, girl? What is it? And in my mind, like, oh, you know, that's too much. But just being non-judgmental and understanding that we all have our issues, you know? So that safety is important.
Yeah.
So we want to ask you as well. Tell us in the comments, what does sisterhood mean to you?
Yes.
So true.
So I gotta ask. So you gotta give me one word. What does sisterhood mean to you?
I had one in my mind, and
She was like, I was ready today.
I was sure ready, but you know what? I'm gonna say it. The second word that came to my mind. This wasn't the one I had, and I don't even know if I said this one before. But sisterhood to me is power.
No, you didn't say that one before. Okay.
I don't remember. Girl power. We always talk about there being power in numbers.
Yes.
And the whole 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can chase 10,000. And if 2 or more are gathered, that God promises to be in our midst. And the work that we can do, power.
That's a shouting moment right there. That's because when you said that, I was thinking, dang, it's been a minute since I heard that one. But when you said that, I was thinking, what are we chasing? Because that's not okay. Yeah, we're chasing, but what are we chasing? So we're chasing depression, we're chasing anxiety, we're changing not being worth it, saying that we're not being worth it. We're chasing not calling ourselves bad moms or inadequate moms, wives, daughters, sisters. Just saying that we're not enough or we're inadequate to be in the spaces that we're supposed to be in, work wise and other.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, we
you
are worthy
deserving it all.
because God says we're worthy.
Yes, that's a whole nother one. Like,
Yeah.
what are we chasing?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What are we chasing?
Yeah.
Because
Chasing it all.
like, I just got an image of me with it back. What are we chasing? What we doing?
She always want to fight, y'all.
Well, we busting up today because we
it's
gotta.
going down.
Yes, we got a fight on our hands. Sarah Jakes did this one. I'm sorry, y'all, but she did this one. She was just like, she took our shoes off. She was like, not today, Satan. Not today. The enemy got to go. Sometimes you can't be cute. You gotta take your edge. She has this raspy voice when she really ready to fight. And I'm like, oh.
That's when you know she mean business.
Yes,
she really going.
I love her. Yes, I love her because she's like, you want to talk about a gangster Christian?
Yeah,
I'm all
you
for it.
all the smoke.
I'm all for it. She all for that spiritual smoke. They're like, you don't want this smoke? All right,
I'm gonna give it to you.
And the spiritual, I'm gonna give it to you.
So I need to ask you, what does sisterhood mean to you? What's your thought today?
I think for me, it's choosing. Because choosing what battles are mine when it comes to other people and what battles aren't.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where we want to help so often where we just take everybody's problems and we're like, I just want to fix it, because we see what God does in us that we're just want to pour it out on everybody, and just choosing what he wants to do versus what we feel as though we can do.
Right.
So for me, that's mine of, okay, well, I know this person says they need that, but with me is I don't want to take the place of God. Right. So I don't want you to look at me and praise me. He needs to get the credit. So if you're coming to me, I need to point you back in to that direction. And then if he points you back to me, then I know that you're an assignment of mine. Right. But I really don't want you coming to me, because then you going to be talking to me when you should be praying. Yeah. Which is all the time. And I don't need them conversations.
Yeah, like, that's a good
don't
one.
call me all the time, because I can't do it all.
Because a lot of people want our question, and that is, what does sisterhood mean to you, my sister Jackie?
Sisterhood to me means loyalty. It means that I have your back, regardless of what the situation is. Yes, that I have your back. If it's I have to operate from a position of tough love, or if it's a soft love, you know that. But I have your back. That if you are not in that room, that I still speak about you in the same manner.
Yes, that is so important to me. Yeah. So important to me. Like, no matter what, and you can be right, wrong, or indifferent, but nobody's gonna sit in this room and have this conversation. Yeah.
Well, y'all know if somebody says something to you something about y'all, because y'all gonna hear like Tiffany was fighting. That's what y'all gonna hear.
We like, still working on her. We still working on her.
Yeah, y'all gonna know. Somebody talk about somebody I love. Like, wait, which one were they talking about? Because she fought, and now I gotta go pick her up. Yeah. You gonna know.
We working on it.
Whole room tore up. I'm gonna tell you where to go get the bail money. Be like, listen,
we on our way. We coming to get you. But we gonna keep working on that one too.
You can come get me and pray. Like, listen.
So, what does sisterhood mean to you, sis? Today.
I got a controversial one, because like mine's is territory.
Okay.
I just like how we take care of our houses, we take care of stuff that we love. Like I feel like people, material objects people take care of more than they take care of their personal territory than they do people. Okay. So like with my territory, with people, my sisters, the ones that I love, I hold it to a higher regard than I hold anything else. Like how we were talking about with any material thing, I hold it higher. This is my territory. Yeah. You walk on my territory, there's going to be a problem. You know how that they say, beware of dog sign. Beware of messing. We need to get that. Beware of messing with my sister sign. Yes. Because you walking on my territory, and it's like, okay, once you cross that threshold, that don't get me. that legal thresh line, I can shoot you in this legal.
In my house. You in my house.
Yes, if you cross this territory, if you cross this line, I got the legal right to shoot you and get away with it because you crossed that line.
You up in my house.
Yes, you in my house. You on my territory.
Yeah, my sister circle. Yeah, yes. That's true. That's a good one. For me, my thoughts today, just with this setup and having you here, we already have this, but expressing to you that to me, sisterhood means freedom. Like I'm experiencing a freedom that I've never felt before. And I know that I'm free to be me with my sisters in a true sisterhood and free to walk in exactly who God called me to be. I'm free without any judgment, without anybody looking down on me or just free to be me. Freedom. That's what it is to me.
Gotta ask, what does sisterhood mean to you? Yes. So I gotta ask you, so what's your new word for today? We try to do one word or one phrase.
My word for today is commitment.
Okay.
Commitment. Like I'm just in awe of what God is doing in my sister circle and like really showing me who my we are. Yeah. Like we've been talking about this for a long time. And the level of commitment that I'm seeing is like something I've never seen before. But this is the person that I am. I always have been. So seeing it coming back, to God be the glory. Thank you, sisters. You know who you are. What about you?
I want to say mine is valuable because there's certain people in my life that I felt like I was going to have to get rid of, if I'm being honest, and praying over them because I honestly didn't want to let them go. And I'm like, God, you're going to have to do the work in them that you're doing in me. And then watching him like, okay, I watched him actually do the work.
He did it.
And the value that's there that I didn't like, I searched for so long for the wrong type of friends and just trying to fit in 2 different circles where it wasn't authentic and just having the value that I have now, like just with our, the people that we're bringing on to the podcast and just the stories and just the amount of you're truly not the only one, no matter how crazy it sounds. Right. It's truly like it's no other. It's valuable and I literally wouldn't trade any amount of tangible worldly things for what God has given us. You can truly have anything that's on this earth. You can't have my kids.
That's different.
But you can literally have anything. You can have what I drive. You can have where I live. You can have the clothes. We talked about the clothes. You can have the hair. You can have all of this stuff because you've given me something that is so much more valuable than anything that I can put a dollar amount to.
Yeah, and the connection.
Yeah, and that's what we aimed for all of our sisters to truly have. And we want you to dig deep and find out what does sisterhood look like to you.
Yeah. Think about it. See you later. We'll see you soon. And we will see you soon.
See you.
Bye, sis. We will see you soon.
See you.
Bye.